What's up, guys, and welcome back to more work on the crane truck, I guess. Waiting on parts for the crew cab, so I think we're gonna do our part for the environment and do some recycling today. Hi, kitty. This bumper's all twisted, which is fine. I mean, it kind of fits the rest of the truck, but there's a lot of plastic on the front here, and plastic doesn't kill deer, and we have a lot of deer here. So today we're gonna do some recycling, and we're gonna turn the headache rack off of that bed and my neighbor's old clothesline into a sweet bumper. Okay, cut it off right there. That'll kind of make up the main hoop of our bull bar. Probably end up using this section because it doesn't have a bunch of holes in it already. And that'll be the main tube of the bumper. We'll cap it on both ends. I think I'm either going to use this old dozer cutting edge or this piece of C-channel. And that'll be our bumper or our frame mounts. And yeah, we're just going to weld all of this trash together into one piece of trash. And maybe paint it white and see how it goes. And I think I want a winch too. So we're going to use this winch plate. Probably not this winch permanently. Probably upgrade it to a 12,000, but it's the one I have here on hand, so it's the one we're going to use for now. So yeah, winch plus headache rack plus clothesline plus trash metal plus trash metal hopefully equals big, awesome deer slayer bumper for this thing. So yeah, we'll get to it. We're gonna start cutting materials apart. A buddy of mine's actually bringing over his arc welder because that just seems fitting. We're welding gas pipe anyway. So yeah, we'll get back to it once I actually start doing some work, but that's kind of the plan. All right, so step one of this process is remove the old bumper so we can start prototyping and measuring to make the new one fit. And this is a lot of the reason I love these trucks, because I don't know if you noticed from the yard here, but that and that and that and let's see what else, that and that, but yeah, I kind of I enjoy a truck with a big heavy steel bumper. I like pushing on things. I like hitting things. I live in deer country, and they're basically the dumbest creature on earth. It's a 200-pound that will run out in front of you, and for absolutely no reason. And the worst part is they're nocturnal. They come out in the middle of the night, and then they're afraid of your headlights, so they just freeze like a deer in the headlights. Believe it or not, that's where that saying came from. But yeah, so a front clip every couple of years, so it's easier to just make sure that those deer turn into red mist and chunks when you hit them at 70 miles an hour. But anyways, before I got on that tangent and lost my entire train of thought, I like these trucks because they're awesome, but they're really easy to build bumpers for, because if you look, they don't call them a square body for nothing. Literally just a straight line across the front of that thing. Perfect. So I mean, you can just put a piece of pipe there and it already matches the body line. No, you don't have to contour it or shape it or anything. And the other part about them makes them really nice. Oh, damn it. One of these days I'll learn how to operate a camera, but it makes them really nice to work on is the frame. It's just a piece of C-channel straight out. So once you take that bumper off, all you gotta do is put something in this hole and this hole, just like a piece of flat steel or C-channel or whatever you can find. As long as you can get, usually there's 3 bolts, but as long as you can get all those bolts in, you're good. That's all you need to do for a mount. There's no fancy goofiness to do. So yeah, we'll pop those couple bolts out and we'll just start with the mounts and just build off of them forwards. That's the easiest way to do it that I know of. We'll have to figure out some marker lights, but I don't think that's going to be too difficult. trailer lights or whatever. We'll figure something out for that. But yeah, we're going to pop this off and then get to work. But whatever. So yeah, this is all loose. It's just not loose. So we're gonna try and get in there with the big pry bar and pop it off. Usually you gotta kind of twist them upwards. It's the best way to get them out of there. And luckily, this has already got holes for prying in. One side. There's the other. It should fall right off now. Oh, you piece of shit. All right, I'll have to get back under there and see what's going on. Well, I figured out why the pry bar didn't work, and as with all things, I was right the first time, but then I thought I was mistaken. Yeah, there's a bolt that goes into the top of the frame that I forgot. So when I mentioned that there's 3 bolts on each side, that's the 3rd bolt that I was talking about, and I just didn't remember it. And then, while I was under here pulling these bolts out, I realized it's a good thing we're doing this in the winter, because massive wasp nest over there, and then equally massive wasp nest on that side. So thank God they are all asleep or dead or whatever they do this time of year. So I'm happy for that. But yeah, remember the top bolt. You can't see it. It camouflages itself. Well, the camera really makes me look stupid, but in person it's kind of dark, and that's all the same color. You can't see it very good. So yeah, we'll get the last bolt out, get the bumper off, and then we'll start fitting up. All right, we got the bumper off after I finished some little mounts, and here's what we came up with for new mounts. Just this little chunk of C-channel, cut it to 12 inches. It's going to sit just a little in front there, and it's going to sit flush with the top of the frame rail, and then we'll weld the piece that bridges over the frame rail, and we'll end up using the top bolt, and then this bolt and this hole. We just won't use the bottom hole because this isn't quite tall enough. So we got that all kind of marked out with Sharpie, so we know where to drill our holes. And then yeah, we'll put some holes in here. It's going to sit out pretty far from the front of the truck, if you notice, but the winch is going to sit frame rail to frame rail, and then we'll just build some cover plates to go out to the corners. You'll see as we build it what comes up with that. And then the other thing too we'll have to do is just kind of round out the end of those holes so they fit nicely on the pipe, so we can get a good full weld. But yeah, it's progressing along. I think we got at least the main idea figured out. Got these marked too, driver front. The other one's marked passenger front, and that way we won't get them mixed up. What's up, guys? We're in the garage here, and I realized I forgot to do a little bit of filming, but working on tacking together and fitting up the bumper here. And this thing is going to be a real front porch. I mean, that's like a full foot ahead of the bumper, or ahead of the grill, but we're going to need that room for the winch. So here's what we ended up doing with those C-channels. And we just popped the 2 holes into there. And then I took the torch, kind of cut them open to shape around the pipe, and then ground them to fit them a little better. Still a little gap here, and this one's kind of got a bit of a gap, but nothing that can't be welded. So this is just kind of tacked on so I can do some measurements, and it's not going to be fully square like this. It's going to have, I'm going to round out the edges with like a 45-degree pipe coming off here, and then I got that big piece of diamond plate. That'll sit right here, so you got somewhere to stand and work under the hood or whatever. Then the winch plate is gonna sit, there-ish. I'm gonna, you gotta center it, but yeah, it'll sit kind of there. Winch will be there. You'll have like a work platform out to here, and then yeah, just curve around, and I kind of want them to extend back just a little bit to protect these nice rusty fenders. I mean, I went to all the trouble of doing that weight reduction, so I mean, now you got to protect that. Yeah, that'll be kind of the main structure of the bumper, and then still got to do a bunch of measuring and figure out where I got to cut that. But I'll cut that, and that'll kind of come up probably from here up over across, and then back down here-ish. And then I think I'm going to end up putting an upright right about here and here on either side of the emblem and the fair lead for the winch. We'll mount some big lights here and here if you're following along, drawing a picture in your head as I'm pointing this out. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. We're still waiting on those pipe bends. I just got some weld-on sort of round deals that should work pretty good. I mean, I probably could do like a saddle cut or something, but I'm not a pipe fitter, so I think that would go pretty poorly. So yeah, the elbows should be here tomorrow, and then we'll be able to do the corners and figure out where I need to cut this again. I already went and cut the ends square just so I was able to get like a decent measurement off of them. But yeah, moving right along. Gosh. But yeah, it sticks out a bit. But it's fine. It looks good enough for something that I'm building out of trash. Like literally, the neighbor was throwing this away. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go scrap this." And I said, "No, that's pretty heavy wall pipe. I'll take it." He said, "All right, yeah, you can have it." So that's how it goes, Well, we just had to shut it down for a second because I lit myself on fire like a dumbass. So I thought that might be a good time to show you some progress. I don't know if it's actually progress. I'm probably going to end up redoing all this shit because I'm an idiot. But yeah, we got the headache rack cut down, cut those bars out of it, and just working on kind of fish mouthing these pipes so they fold over this so you can get a nice solid weld all the way around them. That side's pretty well done. Looks pretty nice. This one I kind of messed up and got real shallow, but I cut it short, or I measured it shorter than the other side, so we do have some room to play with to get it open back up. But yeah, I was kind of squatting down like this to get on the inside here, and I guess I caught a spark in my pocket, so that was fun. I was like, well, I was just checking out my work, and I'm like, oh, I'm really warm, and then So, yeah, we're moving right along despite mishaps. Well, we got the bull bar part of it tacked on, and somebody's going to have to call the USDA because that's some serious beef. It's kind of ugly, and I guess not quite square. This side looks low. I'm going to have to remeasure something, but that's kind of going to be the general shape of it. Is up and around, and then the two bars, I might space them out just a little further so that there's more even gaps, but yeah, that's kind of the shape of it. And then we still got to get our angle pieces because just ending it square like that I don't really like the look of, but yeah, we'll be able to throw some deck chairs up there and watch fireworks or go on a picnic or whatever. There's plenty of room on the front deck. So yeah, we're gonna shut her down for the night. It's kind of snowing, which is weird. It was 70 yesterday, but yeah, I like it. I like how it's shaping up. It's going to get a lot more upgrades and stuff. I'm going to put tow hooks on it, probably a front receiver hitch, and yeah, it'll get all shaped out as we keep going. Well, I kind of hate to do it this way, but it's just how it worked out. Shit did not go well. I got locked out of my YouTube channel for like a couple days, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on there. I think I messed something up, and yeah, I couldn't log back in, so I couldn't do videos. So that's why this one's a few days late. But also, I didn't really film shit very good, and like what I did film didn't work out good. So basically, we drew the rest of the fucking owl, and I'll see if I can figure out how to put that right there to tell you what I'm talking about. But yeah, you saw it before when we were like a third of the way through it, and then we just drew the rest of the fucking owl. 2 circles, rest of the owl. But we ended up cutting the bull bar down about 5 inches because it was blocking the headlights, and also it was way too tall and stupid looking. And those angle pieces came in. So yeah, we angled it around that plate. I mean, basically followed the exact design I laid out. It's just, you didn't get to see any of that. And also, I thought it'd be cool to arc weld it, because, you know, it's gas pipe, and that's what they do to gas pipe, is they arc weld it. And I found out arc welding sucks total ass, and there's no reason to do it if you're indoors or anywhere near actual power. So we're going to step even further back so you can't see my terrible arc welds, but I gave up on that about halfway through and just migged the rest of it and kind of threw it together. But yeah, we got our work platform, we got our winch plate. We're gonna have to figure out turn signals yet. I'm gonna paint it. I want it white and shiny to match the wheels and the mirrors. And then yeah, winches are going on sale this week, so I'll pick up a winch, and this thing will be painted nicely, and we'll figure out some turn signals and maybe some off-road lights. But yeah, it's coming right along, even though you guys didn't get to see it. I'll definitely do a better job filming the rest of this, especially because painting it is important. Really see that big change. And I think we'll actually get to use the crane. I got an idea on how we can get some nice even paint coverage on this thing. So yeah, sorry I dropped the ball, but here's where we're at, and we're just gonna keep plugging away. Just keep moving, I guess. All right, we got that stuck bolt out, and now all that's left is top bolts, and then we'll find out together just how badly I'm gonna permeate all of my discs. I'm trying to lift this turd. And I'm sure you all want to see that. If I don't record myself hurting, if I don't record myself hurting myself, did it even happen? There we go. Got there in the end. Took a minute. Okay. Just a nut. I'm actually just realizing these top mounts aren't even fully welded. They're just tack welded, so we might have to hit them with the Chinese flux core. Probably a bad idea, but they're not really doing most of the work anyway, so it should be fine. Alright. Put the nut off. See if I can even move it. Ooh, it tightened up quite a bit. She's friction fit. Come on. Yeah, it weighs 1 billion tons. Good Lord. I feel bad for the first deer I run across because it's going to have a bad day. Oh, yeah, we're going to have to finish welding these mounts. Then we'll get up in the air and start globbing some paint on it, I suppose. Whew, that was heavy. Alright, so these brackets are the ones that were just tack welded because you couldn't really get under them because of the grill being in the way. So we'll see if we can't weld it, i.e. butcher it even worse, with the old 110 flux core welder and just glue this together, and hopefully it holds. This really isn't as important. It's kind of just a peace of mind thing compared to these two bolts that are actually going to hold all the weight. So we'll run a bead here and across here and just a little bit across there at the back, and I think that'd be enough to hold it. Not too concerned. So we'll time lapse it just so you guys don't have to learn all the new swear words with me. Well, that's one side done, and this is kind of a really small machine, but you can see it's actually putting some really good heat into the metals, so I'd say we're doing just fine. That flux core makes some really ugly welds, and also I make really ugly welds, so that might be part of it, but really how it looks isn't important. What's important is I welded, it held it, pretty much, so I'm not too concerned about it. They do kind of suck though, because these things are dirty as shit, and I have like an undersized outlet, so I can only run this thing for about 10 seconds at a time. So I just do a little bit, then you gotta clean all the flux off so you can get a good start on your next one. You weld a little bit more, clean it all off, weld a little bit more. So it's kind of a tedious process, but that's what you gotta do when you don't have enough electricity to run the big welder. We have a nice Miller-Matic over there, but we've only got 30 amps of 220 into the garage, so one of these days we'll get 50 amps and we'll be able to run that thing, and it will be glorious. And then I can do ugly shit like that with that nice machine. But it's fine. So yeah, we're just gonna keep plugging away. We'll move the camera and you can watch me do this other one. That's all done with, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I am that trashy right here, like deep in my heart and in my soul, but the shitty Chinese Amazon welder laid down better beads than I was able to get with the fancy Lincoln up at the shop. You know, those are like name brand welds, and then like Chinese ones with a welder I bought on Amazon for 180 bucks. I mean, we'll see how they hold up, but I think they look fine. Well, they don't look fine. I think they look terrible. It all looks like shit. I did a shit job, but I think they'll be strong enough for this and for hitting night rodents on the road. So, yeah, time to get it ready for paint. strung up, ready to paint. I mean, it's at a nice height where I can get to it. And I got the swivel hook, so forget I did that just now. We might need to go up a little higher. But as I paint it, I can kind of rotisserie it and get nice even coverage. And for that, we're going to start with this filler primer, which is not going to do a damn thing, because to fill all of this terribleness, we need about 40 gallons of Bondo. But any little bit helps, so we're going to try this and see how far that gets us. I got like 5 cans I bought for another project, so they're basically free, because I obviously didn't need them for whatever I bought them for. So we're just going to go to town. Nice thing is it's windy, you don't need a respirator, you don't need to worry about overspray either. Overspray doesn't exist, you're fine. Alright, these are them fancy Duplicolor cans that spray both directions. And look at that. Nice, even coverage coats. Get it covered up, and then worry about filling after the fact. We're just going to paint right over the straps, and then once this is dried, we'll re-rig it and we'll paint underneath where the straps were. Well, that took 2 cans of primer, so hopefully that means it only is going to take 2 cans of paint, because I only have 2 cans of paint. What the fuck did I just say? 2 cans of paint. I think I said that twice wrong. Am I having a stroke? Maybe it is bad to breathe in paint fumes. Probably don't do that. Weird. Okay, so yeah. We got acrylic enamel because it's the best paint, and it's the only paint you should ever use. Gloss white, so it matches the rest of the trim on the truck. So yeah, hopefully this covers just as much, or else we're going to be screwed. Because I already went to town today, and I'm not going back. Otherwise it'll just stay like half painted until I go in and get the winch that's going on sale next weekend. Because obviously I'm not going to pay full price when I could save $70. So yeah, we'll just see how far we get with 2 cans of white and see how it turns out. Probably terribly. Especially because I painted right over stickers and dust and like chipped paint, and it's all going to flake off eventually. But we'll just keep a can in the truck, and as that happens, we'll just kind of touch her up. Give it a little DuPont overhaul every now and then. Keep it looking shiny. And that's kind of been my strategy for most of my bumpers around here. Just keep a can of flat black paint in the truck. Whenever you see a spot chipping or rusting or whatever, you just brand new. So we'll get you back on the time lapse, and you guys can get high with me on all these awesome fumes. It smells delicious. Ta frickin' da! Look at that. Now, I mean, it is just absolutely really bad. But, seeing as how we started at terrible, I would say really bad is kind of an improvement. And, you know, if you step back like 30 or 40 feet, it looks really good. So, You know what they say, a grinder and paint and like keeping your distance makes you the welder you ain't. So now I think we got something that is worthy of being mounted to such a fine mint example piece of a machinery as this. I mean, you can't put any piece of junk on something that looks this good. So I'm happy. Everything in my garage and driveway is covered in overspray. So we'll let that dry a bit. Oh, and I was smart enough too. I saved just enough paint to paint where the straps are. So I'm not that dumb. Well, I am that dumb. But yeah, we'll be good to go. We'll let this dry for an hour or two, and then we'll set it down, and then probably use the engine hoist to remount it so I don't scratch the fuck out of it. I kind of wish the crane was 360 degrees. It'd be really handy. Just spin it all the way around and set it right down in place, but we can't be that lucky all the time. Well, that went pretty well, except for two of the bolt holes weren't quite lined up, and one of them had a little bit of weld splatter on it, so I had to use a low pro socket and hammer it on, but made that work. And then the bolt holes that weren't lined up, we just kind of touched them up with the Christmas tree bit, kind of egged them out a little bit. It'll be fine. But I must have messed something up when I put those top plates on, because it's not sitting very level, if you'll see. This side's a little low, but no one's going to notice that going down the highway. It'll be fine. So all that's left is finish touching up this paint, get some turn signals. Those are coming from Amazon, so they'll be here eventually, I suppose. And then what else? Oh, get the winch. But obviously we're waiting until that's on sale. I'm not paying full price. Screw that. So yeah, we'll just touch this up quick and be on the road. Obviously you want to protect your grill from overspray, but don't worry about the hood, it's fine. Okay, well, we got a winch bumper here, but that doesn't do us much good without a winch, so here's what I came up with in the back here. If I was prepared, I probably would have had this out already, but I don't. Alright, I'm sure most of you expected this already, but yeah, Badlands ZXR 12,000, the cheaper one, because why not? And also the Apexes are good, but I haven't used one of these new ones, so I thought I'd try this out and see if they're anywhere close to as good. And also, they were on sale, 70 bucks off, so that means I get, oh, where did I put it? Back to being unprepared. the wireless remote upgrade for free, basically. And still came out cheaper than buying a brand new Apex, even with the steel cable. So basically, this is the main difference, is getting the wireless remote compared to this one that's wired. But yeah, we'll see if this is as good. I guess technically it's a little bit slower line speeds. There's obviously something different, but once they're loaded up, they're all slow, so it really makes no difference. God, how many times can I say different in like 30 seconds? What was that? Like 8 or 9 or 35, whatever. But I'll try to mix up the vocabulary. But yeah, I was going to use that 9,500 pound one I showed before, but it didn't seem to make much sense to cut apart a good hitch receiver winch and mount it here, and then I wouldn't have a hitch receiver winch, because those are handy to keep around sometimes. So yeah, might as well just put a dedicated one on this truck and then not lose my temporary one. And we'll get this all unboxed and show you what we do with it. I mean, they're pretty simple to install. 2 wires, 4 bolts, spool up the cable, and yeah, that's really all it is. Well, all right. Well, there's definitely nicer winches out there, and I'm sure there's cheaper winches out there. But what I like about these Harbor Freight ones is the value and the convenience, because you buy one of these things, you open up the box, it comes, I mean, that's just the cord, but get the manual out of the way. We don't need instruction manuals. But I mean, you get all the wire to hook it up, all the hardware to mount it, all the, tons of wiring actually. The what else is in here? You get the fair lead, you get everything you need to get this thing on your truck and get pulling, all in the box. And they give you the option of a 2-year, no questions asked warranty. So you wait 2 years and you bring this thing back in and they'll swap it out. They don't, I mean, even if it's good, you just get a brand new winch in 2 years and you pay them another $90 to get the 2 years on the new winch. So then every 2 years you get something brand new for basically nothing. And really, with the price of a tow truck these days, if I use this thing twice, ever, it will cover itself from not having to call it actual tow. And if I keep using it, and every 2 years, if I use it once within 2 years, it's paid for. And technically probably even profited. So that's the beauty of it, is you just bring it in and they get you a new one. You get like a name brand or something else. They want you to send it back to the manufacturer in the mail, and then you wait for them to send you a new one, and then you don't have a winch unless you have a spare or something. But then you get it back and you get a brand new one, and then you got to remount it and everything. I mean, this thing, you drive the whole rig right into the Harbor Freight, unmount that thing in the parking lot, and just carry in the main drum, and you carry out a brand new one. Hell, if you're real lucky, they'll probably even carry out the new one to your truck for you. But yeah, I've got, the Wrecker has one. I've obviously got that one on the receiver mount. And then the Suburban also has a Harbor Freight winch. And the Suburban, I did get like a defective one, the first winch I put on it. And it went bad like the third time I used it. It just would only spool in. You put power to it, and all it would do was spool in. But I brought it into the store. They didn't even ask what was wrong with it or look it over. They just said, oh yeah, we'll take it, and here's a new one. We'll just send this off, and yeah, we'll bring it out to your car for you. And I said, sweet, thanks. And I was back winching again that same day. So yeah, that's the nice thing about Harbor Freight winches. And obviously they're cheap, and I like cheap, so not going to complain about that either. But yeah, we got everything here and ready, so we'll get that set up there. 4 bolts up from the bottom. A couple of wires ran to the battery. And I think we're good to go. I mean, that's really all it takes. They're pretty simple. if I really need to get video of wiring this all up or not, but they really make it easy enough that if you're over the age of 5, you can figure it out. Because the yellow, here, you can't even see it because of the darkness, but yeah, the yellow wire goes to the yellow terminal. The black wire goes to the black terminal. The red wire goes to the red terminal. So as long as you know what colors are, you're good. If you're colorblind, you're fucked. But that's not my issue. And then the really nice thing is, here, Chevy actually, when they built these trucks, they knew that 40 years later, some idiot would be putting the cheapest Chinese winch he could find on this truck in his yard. Because, see, they put these handy dandy accessory wire holes right here. And then, on the back side of it, corresponds with a nice little hole through the core support where the headlight wiring comes through. So, yeah, you just run your wires through the grill and then straight through. Then your battery's right here. So, I mean, it wants to have a winch on it, essentially. But, yeah, it's going as well as you would expect. It's nothing too crazy complicated. So, we'll just keep plugging away. I gotta tighten up all those bolts and then set the winch down and tighten up those bolts, and that's really the end of it. Alright, well, I finished up mounting the winch, and I kind of filmed a little bit more, but it sort of turned into rambling nonsense because it was getting to be late at night, and I get weird when I'm up too late, so we just cut that part out. No one needs to be subjected to that. It's worse than normal. So, here's what we ended up with. We pulled the steel cable off and swapped it out for synthetic. It's just a little easier to work with. It's lighter, it's safer. So, and I already had it from a different winch. I had a winch go bad and I warrantied it, and the winch was the problem. The cable wasn't bad, so I saved the cable. And yeah, now we got good synthetic cable on there. Still 12,000 pounds rated. For marker lights, since the old ones were in the bumper, I ended up just getting cheapo Amazon semi-truck fender lights, and all those are, you just drill one hole through the bumper and then splice the wires right into the factory wires that are already dangling there. So that wasn't really anything too crazy. Only problem is these trucks weren't really designed for LEDs, so the turn signals don't work how they should. They just turn on solid now because LED doesn't have the same electrical resistance as incandescent, so it's not getting that feedback to actually trigger the flasher unit. But that's an easy fix. You can just go to Napa or O'Reilly. Any auto parts store will have like an LED flasher unit. You just unplug the old one, plug in the new one that takes lower resistance to trip. So we'll get that ordered or picked up. I don't know if they keep them in stock or what, but that's no big deal. So yeah, we got turn signals again, marker, well, we don't have turn signals technically, but we have marker lights. We got a working winch, and we got my little friend here, Piggly, because here at Skyberg Skyhook Crane Service, we'll make pigs fly for our customers. Yeah, it turned out pretty good, and I know a lot of you saw the title and you're thinking, oh, there's no way you can build a bumper for free, but really, we can break it down here. And you know, this was on the bed that was on this truck. You guys saw me cut it off in a different video, so, and these were part of that. These were the uprights, and then this was the top curve section, so that was free. The main tube here, and that was a clothesline my neighbor was throwing away, so he gave me that. So really, the only things we've spent money on are the winch, which is optional. You don't really need to make a winch bumper to make the bumper work, so we don't count that price. I did buy the winch plate. That was $50, but also I had one. I could have used the one I had, and I could use the winch I had. So really, that price is kind of doesn't really count. It was either already accounted for or things I didn't need to do. So we don't count that. These bends I bought, they were like $40. So I mean, technically, yeah, I did buy them, but also I could have saddle cut the bends just like I did these. So I didn't even need those either. So that's also an optional price. And then, so really the only thing I needed that I didn't have in my scrap pile was the diamond plate for the step plates, and then there's some bracing metal underneath there, and that was just dropped at the local steelyard. You go there, and they custom cut things for people, so they always have extra pieces that are just small, whatever. And it was 43 cents a pound, so I spent 30 bucks on this metal, and it was 27 bucks for these marker lights. So really, 40 plus 70 plus 27, so we're right around $100 for this whole bumper. That's extremely reasonable, I think, especially when a ranch hand will get you, $2,000 for a new one, and also they don't make them for old trucks. So a little bit of time and very little money, I think we got something that turned out ugly, but also fitting at the same time. Like I wanted it to be ugly. My kind of whole goal here was rain day on the pipeline, and just somebody throwing together things out of scraps, because that's what I did. I threw it together out of scraps, and I think it turned out really good. So all we have left now is to put this thing to the test. You can't build a bumper and not test it. So we'll be right back in a few minutes, and we'll see how well she works. All right, now obviously the purpose of a bumper is to bump things. So the only way I know to test it is to bump something. And I got this old, dirty, rusty, dented, crappy fuel barrel I bought at the auction a couple years back, so it's not doing me any good. I don't need fuel here. I'm not going to keep fuel here, so. And it's pretty sturdy. I think that's going to be our perfect test medium. So I think you're going to enjoy this. I know I'm going to. I love smashing things. Hell yeah! It did its job. Let's do a damage assessment. I'd say we did pretty good. Fuel barrel 0. Bumper 1. License plate half a point. I'm gonna have to repaint it now though. I wrecked my mint paint job. You scratched it. You picked it up in broad daylight and you scratched it. But that was awesome. I didn't expect to get like the sweet wheelie. I tried to park the truck on top of it, but that didn't work out. That's a good bumper right there though. High quality. Oh yeah, and it doesn't look like we hurt anything underneath, so that was a good, successful test run, I think. Awesome. Well, I just reviewed the footage and I didn't realize that went off camera and you didn't get to see all the action, so we're gonna do one more hit. And we didn't really break anything yet, so we might as well go till something's broken. My poor license plate is taking a beating, but it handled that one pretty good. I hope it showed up on camera. We did end up doing a little bit of damage that time though. Maybe this isn't as sturdy as I thought. It's all still holding square, but we put a small dent here. That's just a battle scar. It'll be fine. I probably shouldn't have had the license plate mounted for this. That might cause some issues with old Johnny Law, but it's good. The fuel barrel did not hold up quite as well as the bumper did. I don't think that'll buff out. Good thing I only paid $2 for it. And nobody tell my grandma I did this to the yard. I own the house, but she owns the yard, according to her. She puts in all the gardens, so you guys just keep quiet about this. No one needs to know. Look, we'll stomp the grass back down like we're never there. Just like a golf course, fix your divots. I think that's gonna do it for this one. We started something, we finished something, we accomplished something. I'd say that's a win in my book, and I really appreciate you guys watching, especially if you make it all the way to the end. So yeah, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, share this with your friends, make your grandma watch it, you know, just get it out there. The more people that watch these, the more I'm gonna make them. And I love making these, and I love doing hillbilly shit like this. So really, the only difference now compared to if I wasn't making these videos is I'm filming it. I'd be doing this stuff on my own, just for my own enjoyment. So yeah, if you like it, keep watching them. And thanks, and have a good day.